Hey guys, I had a teaching game with a student yesterday, and it brought up some good questions. So let's have a look. He's black. I'm white. Standard stuff. There's a great many details about which Joseki to choose here, but in short, they're all fine up to 3 done. So we won't worry about that. From white's perspective, for a moment, I almost always play this move. Um, But being a thin move, it means that there's more. Let's just do it for instance. As White's fixing his thin corner, however he's doing that, that means Black's getting something too. That's the thing about contact moves. We both get something. So in this case, I don't want Black to get extra things in his area because he's building it pretty well. So that's why instead of this, I pulled in. Now, this is kind of a new idea for me. Um, our local 9 down, Chris, has shown me. I've seen a lot of 9 downs play this, and I'm at the very, very beginning of understanding this versus my regular one. Anyway, so I played here. Unusual for me. Okay, all regular. Um, so what I shared in the bottom right corner is beside the point. That was just something about my thoughts, not the lesson. Here also is something about my thoughts. I generally like to play this move, although I'm step by step realizing it might be better in general just to play this one. But in either case, I'm still going to play this for a while. I'm not done learning about it. But usually what happens is Black's going to play away at this point and do something whole board. But if Black stays here, a lot of you know about this. We're just going to go through it a little bit. White shouldn't play this way because the white group really isn't very strong. And you can't say, yeah, but I'll just, kill the corner because, well, that's co. So it leaves some problems in White's shape, or rather in his life, however you want to phrase it. So White's going to be playing this way. Okay, so we're up to this point. Black has lots of choices, but let's look at this. Generally speaking, and in this specific case, White's not really thrilled with the Atari because White's only in the corner. Black's better on the left, on the bottom, in the center. Yeah, White has Sente, but Black's position on the left and center and right are all pretty darn good. So we don't usually go this way. Instead, we take here. So let's just look at it this way. Yes, the ladder works for Black, but let's set that aside for a minute. So when I read it out, I looked at the white group in this context. And I'm going to want another move. and I don't see any good spot for it. There's too many black stones there. I'm not doing anything. In regards to the future and attacking black, no. In regards to settling in a good area, no. While black is doing quite well on the bottom, which is a big area. Now, I don't have a lot of confidence about my judgment there, but that's why I didn't go that way. Instead, I play here and give myself more options. He plays on top, which I don't agree with. And again, I'm not too sure. So let's look at the basic idea. If black's going to play that move, that means he wants to fight here. Well, looking at it now, this isn't Sente. Black's fine. And this way, that's not a problem either. So maybe it is okay for black. Okay. But he instead went here, which means nothing. It's just he's actually, you see he's 4Q, but he's only been playing Go 3 months, 4 months. I mean, it's a kind of amazing. We had a friend, how long ago was it? Over 40 years ago. Let's say 40 years ago. And he went from 0Q, brand new beginner, to 6 dan in a year and a half, and then moved to Japan, became an insei. That's the fastest I had ever seen. But this fellow is now he's only at 4Q, but just a few months. Okay, so this is just 4Q nonsense or Q nonsense. And then regardless, he has to come this way, right? Got to get your stones touching. And then if he decides to let it go, great, let it go. Or if you decide to fight, then fight. Okay. Okay. So at this point, I'm not very concerned about black's cut. Um, him living on the bottom isn't going to be particularly easy, and I'm fine in the corner. So, I mean, I'm not saying game over, but I'm not too concerned. So I would play away at this point, or at least I'm not going to defend my cut at this point. And again, I say that, I mean, I don't know, but seems to me. Now, one could say, when he cuts you and you run out, this is Sente to kill the corner. Let's see if that's true. So I should say Sente to take it to one eye. So then who's going to win the race, right? And if I live, then he gets out easily. So again, these things, it's always a matter of, I have to be careful what I say. I don't mean to say some absolute thing, but rather at the moment, I don't find myself concerned. Okay. So what's the state of things? If I'm correct that I have Sente, we look at the board. Black has area 1. Looks nice. I don't plan on invading that. It's a lot of black stones. Pretty secure. If I was going to think about it, I'd probably just start with endgame. And he doesn't want to finish endgame right now. It's too small whenever I choose to do it, which means I'm going to be able to play here, right? And I can, so there are things I can do later, but it's fine at the moment. Okay. So the next thing to me that's big looks like the bottom. I went here, thinking it looks difficult to find a path for black in the white's bottom area. So he says, I think I'll continue the opening. I agree, and I share the opening with him. So maybe playing the opening this way might be a little better for him. Big move, bigger area. But once we're here, here's where the main question came. Now, we're not considering who's ahead. We're not considering any other big questions. So here, he displayed a thinking that I've seen countless times in general amongst Q, but very much with my students. When they get to this point, the thinking starts to get muddy. If they could clarify their thoughts, which I had him do at this point, and it sounds funny, but it's just, okay, I want to invade, but I don't know how, so I won't. So he went this way, helping me secure my area. And that's where we stopped and did the review, because it's like, I mean, black is saying those 4 points he's taking are the biggest thing on the board. And it's like, that's irrational. And it's like, well, I wanted to come in, but I didn't know how. So what? You gotta, you must come in. Don't put the stone down until you come up with, work on any rational choice for coming in. Okay. Which might include, flattening. I don't know. Okay, so here we are at the point of this review. And we're going to look at how to invade. But just before we do, I said we were going to, and now I'm changing my mind. Just before we do that, in general, it's better to reduce than invade. So let's look at the reduction. Sente. Let's look at, just for fun, let's put it here. Sente. Okay, the point I'm making is that often it's better to just don't invade. Just grow your own area as you reduce him. Right? And next you're looking at this, which is a really big move. And if white says, I can't let you have such a big move, then it's just, black can grow. Now, in this case, it just doesn't look like black's big enough. But I want to point out that usually reduction's better. And if we just look at that one more time, you can see that you really can whittle white down quite a bit. But there's still a sense on the bottom that it's not exactly cash. And that's really, in my mind, the point of it. At the start of this position, I don't see any way that white can claim all of area 1 is mine. No, it's too open. And then area 2, no, that's not yours either. So how do we come in? That's the question. Great. Took us all this time to get there. So let's use a 2-item list for invasions. A 2-step process for invasions. Number 1, can you, and we're going to be looking at area 1, can you put down a gote move and you're fine? If so, put it down. It worked. You're fine. It worked. If does it work here? No, we're not ready to say that black's alive here. No, we're not ready to say that. Okay, so we go to item 2. Play a free move. That way you get 2 moves in a row. How does one get a free move? Well, it's a forcing move. When you contact, especially in the face like this, white doesn't want to just play away, because your second move is now 2-1 in black's favor. Black's his invasion will have become easy. So that's why we call it forcing moves. It's saying you need to respond. Let's assume white responds this way. The point is, we're not trying to save the A-stone. That wasn't the beginning of a healthy group. No, take my A-stone, I don't care. I'm only here getting free moves. Okay, so back to step 1. Can we play a gote move and we're healthy? If so, do it. It worked. You're healthy inside his area. If not, play another forcing move. So to restate it, hopefully in simple terms, keep playing forcing moves until the path for health shows itself. Now, sometimes you just need one forcing move and then boom, you're in. Sometimes you need 5, 6. Sometimes there's lots of forcing moves around and you need every single one of them till you finally find some health. Okay, so let's look at forcing moves. Stop it. Where'd it go? We did black. Oh, I see. There's a KGS bug where if you press a wrong button, the move tree disappears, and that's ruined a number of my videos where I have to just redo it because the moves are all gone. And it just happened, but we're on the last move anyway, so I can replace it. I think it was here. Maybe it was one further out. Okay, so we're looking at the bottom. We'll also look at the right, forcing moves. These are all touching and forcing the issue, and we'll include these. They're all in the face touching moves. We didn't do any shoulder hits, which are touching moves, but they're not dramatic. They can be ignored more easily. Okay. So step 1, we define forcing moves. This should be enough of a definition, right? In the face, touching, demanding a response. Okay. Which one should we use? Not M. How come? It's not in the area we're trying to be. Okay, so M's obvious. We get rid of that. N. That's like reducing. That's not in the area either. Okay. So believe it or not, this is a real process. If I get confused, I'll go through this process to find which forcing move. So any others we can get rid of? Yeah, something like H. It's super difficult move. We don't want difficult at all. That's like, who wants to play there? That's for white's strongest. Get rid of that one. So we're looking for easiest. Now I'm going to spend a moment talking about this. And it's such a simple idea, but I haven't found people understand it too well. Okay. White has two ways to proceed. A, get stopped immediately. Boom. While B does not. We can get to keep going. So one way is easier. More freedom, more air, get to breathe easy. Oh, living is so easy. I believe I found this over, I figured out just yesterday how long I've been playing Go. It came up, it was like 53 and a half years, something like that. That this principle I use all the time, always have. And I don't see anyone else using it. So hopefully it's going to mean something for someone. Okay, so once again, white has two options. Oh, which way should I go? Go the easy way. Okay, so let's apply this to the board. Where are the easy areas? Well, I like area 1 because it's got that nasty cut at 2, right? So we have the cut at 2. We have the underneath in this area 2, and we have getting out towards 3. Lots of things to do in this area. There are not that many things to do in this area. Now, this is a normal, regular contact play. White says, no, you can't live in my corner. Okay, I'll connect under. No, then I'm going to cut you and do stuff. No, you can't do that. Great. All of a sudden, it looks like white's the weak one, not black. And this white stone actually was one further out, if you recall. So it's like totally worked for black. But we're looking at the bottom because it's a bigger area, right? Okay. So I'm going to put that back. So contact plays. A looks to the left where the cut is, looks to running where the wide open spaces are, and looks to the hane under to start living in that area. That looks to a whole lot of free areas. So to me, that's the most natural place to look. Now, one could also say, well, this also does a lot of work. True, although you're not looking to that A cut yet. This move does not suggest A. Well, I don't need to suggest A. Fine. You can start anywhere you want. It's not like, oh, that's a bad move. No, but I'm lazy. I don't like to read. I like to just do the next natural thing. And A is the next obvious natural move. Now, I'm just imagining someone out there going, well, but that's stupid. Go's all about reading and finding out the best move. It's like, well, that's true. But it's also about just going with the flow, learning. So anyway, I'll play this way. Back in the day, I used to play a whole lot of simultaneous games. And if to play this move, you're going to need time on your clock. You're going to need to figure a lot of things out. To play this move, quarter of a second, just at a glance. right? That's the obvious one. So I used to play just the most obvious move I can think of against however many boards at once. And they're struggling and trying to do all this reading and difficult. Oh, it's so hard. And I'm like, just put the stone down where it belongs. It's any natural, normal spot. You don't need the best move. So I guess my point is you can play natural Go at a very high level. Okay. So that was the point of this review is how does one invade? And if you can't find just a natural spot, then play a forcing move and keep looking for a natural health. But that might take a whole lot of free moves. Okay, that was it. That was it. While we're here, since we haven't used up a lot of time, let's talk about invasions. Now, you can just get on YouTube and you'll find a number of videos talking about this. And if you want, you can learn all the life and death here. When is it alive? When is it dead? How do you kill it? How do you live? You can work it all out. I haven't done that. Why? Well, because there are Googleplex things you can do this with. This is not stopping, right? Then you need to figure out that one. Then you need to figure out. I mean, it's just I don't go around figuring out the absolutes in all situations. So instead, I say to myself, okay, it's black's move, so there's no rush. But in my head, I'm kind of assuming I'm going to die here. I might want to test them at some point just for fun, but no, it looks hard. So I'm not going to do it. I don't like to do hard things. So the game is continuing, doing this and that. And finally, I'm going, it's time to make a big move. Let's assume this is securing the right side points. Oh, I like securing the right side points. And now, things are getting a little interesting. There's a way I can consider this. If he goes for the kill, there's a cut here. Or maybe I'll just, test him in that direction. Well, what if we're playing along and I decide, this is big, and he decides to take whatever territory he's going to take? Well, then I assume I'm alive. I don't know, but he has a problem on both sides. There's something here that should work. Well, what is it? How does it work? I don't know, but I'm ready on both sides. I'll work it out. And back here, I'm only ready on one side. So if I'm going to try something, I'll probably try it on that side. So perhaps the answer is here already. I don't know. For me, this is really big. The idea of, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, then what are you going to do? I'm going to take care of my groups. If his groups are weak, I'm going to try to find a rational way to make him uncomfortable about that. And I'm going to try to play in a big area. Well, that's silly. That's awfully simple. Yeah. I used to be able to do that at a very comfortably high level. Okay, that's all. I was just rambling. Okay, guys. Hope it was helpful. Catch y'all later. Bye.